Megalodon, meaning big tooth, is said to be the scariest sea monster of all time, but many would dispute this. Now, it is actually the largest extinct species of shark of all time, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the scariest sea monster in the world. In fact, there are many creatures lurking in the deep sea which are far scarier than the Megalodon. Some are extinct and others are still with us today. Helicoprion. Many have described this sea creature as a living buzzsaw, exactly the opposite thing you'd want to run into when diving. The Helicoprion's jaw was a mystery to marine biologists for decades. Instead of having rows of teeth like most sharks, this has a tooth whorl. It's basically a spiral of super sharp teeth. It comes from its lower jaw and looks terrifying. Fossils of this were first discovered in 1899. It was hard to know exactly where these teeth were located on helicoprions. But over 100 years later, scientists worked it out. For years, many thought these teeth grew on its tail or dorsal fin. But Idaho University cracked the case and found it comes from its jaw. Helicoprion translates to spiral jaw. Now, this creature is smaller than Megalodon, but Megalodon's teeth did not work in this way, so maybe it would have been a worthy competitor. It would also be far more painful to be eaten by a Helicoprion rather than a Megalodon. A Megalodon would swallow a human in a few bites, but a Helicoprion would grind you up very slowly like a mining machine. Two-headed shark. A two-headed shark sounds like something straight from a movie, but I'm not making this up. According to National Geographic, two-headed sharks are becoming more and more common, and they're also a mystery of the sea. These two-headed sharks keep popping up and no one knows why. Now, these are normal sharks which have simply been mutated. This is probably from genetic abnormalities due to overfishing. The first one of these was found in 2008 by a fisherman in the Indian Ocean, but recently they've been seen in many places, for example northwestern Mexico and the Gulf of California. Two-headed animals aren't all that uncommon, but there seem to be more and more two-headed sharks every single year. The National Polytechnic Institute in Mexico believes that overfishing may be to blame. Overfishing is removing a species of fish from water at a rate the species can't replenish. So the sharks don't have enough time to actually mate and make more sharks. Leviathan. You may think that the Megalodon was the only prehistoric sea monster, but many say that the Leviathan is a worthy contender and may actually beat the Megalodon in a battle. They are not to be confused with Leviathan. This species of whale lived 13 million years ago, and it would survive on a diet of other whales. Here's a size comparison I made showing how big one of these is compared to a human. Gigantic fossils of its mouth and teeth have been found in seas around the world. The Leviathan could hold its breath much longer than its prey, and it's also the inspiration for the famous book Moby Dick. Frilled shark. Frilled sharks are pretty uncommon, but they're one of the scariest sharks in the sea. They have massive rows of teeth, spanning a total of 300 individual teeth across 25 rows. They can grow up to 6 feet in length, and they can constrict their prey like snakes. Although they're much smaller than Megalodon, they swim way faster. According to the University of California, their teeth are needle sharp. Frilled sharks have been around for centuries, but were first discovered in 1881. Unlike most sharks, it hovers in the water. Its body is packed with low-density oils, and this means the shark is neutrally buoyant at any depth. Although frilled sharks are found all over the world, you'll likely never see one. That's because they typically reside at depths between 400 and 4,200 feet. One wasn't even seen in its natural habitat until 2004. Mosasaurus. Mosasauruses are gigantic predators which could take on Megalodon. Many mistake these for dinosaurs, but Mosasauruses are actually reptiles. They're closely related to snakes and monitor lizards. They can grow up to 60 feet in length and weigh over 40,000 pounds. So, why could Mosasauruses take on Megalodons? Well, a Mosasaurus has a double-hinged jaw. This will allow it to swallow its prey whole. With Megalodons, this would mean big parts of it would be chewed up whole. Their teeth are also shaped like sharp spikes, allowing them to grip and hold on to their prey. They were around at the same time as Megalodons, but Mosasauruses are actually older. They're from around 82 million years ago, and they became extinct around 66 million years ago. This means they were extinct far before Megalodons. Megalodons only came into extinction 2.6 million years ago. So I guess Megalodons are better survivors, but who would win in a battle? Leviathan. We've already covered the Leviathan, which is named after the Leviathan. Leviathans weighed as much as 50 tons. That's around 25 elephants. Leviathans also did actually battle with Megalodons. However, they're nowhere near as big as Megalodons. Here's a size comparison I made of a Leviathan, a Megalodon, and also a human for scale. But while they are smaller, they're still a vicious contender in a battle. Leviathans are also one of the few prehistoric animals to be discovered in Peru. Its closest ancestor today is the modern sperm whale, but Leviathans actually have longer teeth than Megalodons. In fact, they have the longest teeth out of any prehistoric animal. Giant squid. A squid may not sound like the most threatening animal, but once you learn about the giant squid, your mind might change. Giant squid's eyes are the size of frisbees. They have suction tentacles which can leave bad battle scars. Their maximum length can be around 45 feet, but one of the main reasons why they'd be a great contender against a megalodon is because they can regenerate. Some say this makes giant squids immortal. Giant squids can regrow severed tentacles, bodies, and heads. They've been caught on underwater cameras many times, and the footage is terrifying. In the movie The Meg, which is about megalodons, there's even a battle between a megalodon and a giant squid. Megalodons are far less intelligent and also lack arms and tentacles. They also lack any defense from behind, and their gills are an easy weak spot. Megalodon's eyesight is nowhere near as good as a giant squid, and also they get confused by ink the squid squirts out into the water. Who would you put your money on to win in a battle? Liopleurodon. This prehistoric creature had a mouthful of razor-sharp teeth. For its size, it was an incredibly fast swimmer. That's because it had gigantic flippers. It could swim around 10 kilometers per hour. That's faster than the fastest swimmer in the world, Michael Phelps. It has a bite force of 11,000 pounds. That means its teeth closing on you would be like a weight of 11,000 pounds. Vampire squid. A vampire squid sounds like something from a movie, but it's very real. They have a jelly-like body that glows in the dark. Very little is known about this very mysterious creature. That's because it resides at depths of 900 meters. The saturation of oxygen down there is as low as 3%. But mysteriously, vampire squids can still live in these suffocating conditions. It's not known whether Megalodon would be able to go down that deep without getting suffocated. So maybe vampire squids could beat Megalodons in a battle simply because they live at such deep depths. Dunkleosteus. The Dunkleosaurus is described as the Tyrannosaurus of the sea. Others say it's like an underwater tank. It measured over 10 meters long and weighed over 4 tons. That's the weight of around 2 elephants. It had a rock-hard armored shell, meaning Megalodon's teeth may not be able to bite into it. Instead of teeth, it has lots of bony, sharp plates. This carnivorous hunter is one of the largest fish to ever live. Many fossils of this apex predator have been found with the bite marks of its own species in it. This means that this fish was so hardcore it was literally a cannibal. But now it's time to make your voice heard. Comment below which was the scariest sea monster on this list.